I'll give you a little background of what we've been doing for the last 2 years. We've been doing this rap class, and Sharp came in and has been helping out, and so we just bring in everybody from all over Cincinnati, the whole hip hop scene.
I love it.
Come in and be guest rap coaches and just share with these guys. My goal is I want them to be fully aware of what they're getting into in the music business.
Yes.
So that they're not, they may not know exactly what a contract or label or royalties or any of those things are.
And they can.
They'll have a heads up.
And they can. They'll get a heads up. Can you record this for me, fam?
And so super happy to have you in here because of your experience through the music industry in so many different ways. And so typically what we'll do is we'll introduce ourselves to you.
Yes, please, please.
And then I'll have you kind of do a background on your history. And then I typically like to have you leave us with like 3 or 4 like things that you wish you would have known when you were in high school, junior high.
How about 10?
Right, as many as you can think of.
But no, I hear you. That's respect.
So start with Oliver. You know the deal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You going now?
I'm Oliver, also known as Obvious.
Big obvious.
Yes, sir. I make beats. I play guitar. I play drums.
Uh-huh.
Play a little bit of piano.
Nice.
Pretty much do it all, besides rapping.
No, that's good. You're a hip hop musician.
Yep.
That's more than just rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And being a hip hopper has nothing to do with the music.
Yeah.
You could just enjoy the music and be a part of the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Obvious.
Yeah.
The producer. You got some nice beats, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I want to hear some more.
Most definitely.
What's your name, man?
What's that?
No, you can say it. You're fine.
My name's Brian, and right now I do drumming.
Okay.
Primary.
The god of all instruments. The drum.
That's for sure.
I'm into like.
The goddess is the piano. But the god is the drum. You have a drum right here, right now. If you ran from a cheetah or a threat, a wolf, because you got to remember, we were in the natural world when we created music. So if you ran from a wolf, a bear, an angry mom, your heart would be. So that's one of the first rhythms that man was connected to, his heartbeat. What do we do when mom is pregnant? We want to hear the kid, you know what I mean? So stick to them drums, because it's going to give you the secret to music. Definitely learn drums and piano. I was the master at the cafeteria. You give me a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and we just get it on. In hip hop, we have beatboxing. Because as I was building with Wally earlier, we were poor. We didn't have drums. So we made the drums with our mouth. How real is that? We didn't have the electricity. We stole the electricity from the park with a cord. So that's passion, integrity. Definitely stay on them drums. Trust me.
Been playing for a couple of years now.
I'm Wally.
Big Wally.
I lead the rap class with Sharp. Here, I work here, and I've been here for about 2.5 years.
Nice.
And so we've been building this, like I said, building this whole rap class idea.
God bless y'all, man.
And just lucky to see it expand and have people give their time like you come through. So thanks.
Yeah, man. I've always had a connection to Ohio, even though I'm a New Yorker. I have a lot of friends and family in Columbus and Cleveland. So it's amazing that I ended up moving to Cincinnati in my later years. I used to come out here for Scribble Jam, all of that.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I know Dibs. Shout out to Dibs. You know, shout out to Brew Lee, Spitball, all right, Raised by Wolves, you know, Patterns of Chaos. I'm just shouting out some of the locals, Animal Crackers. Shout out to all of y'all. You know, it is what it is. We are the culture, you know, so. Yeah, man. I'm here to build with y'all about whatever y'all want. How do y'all want to, you know?
I don't even know. I mean,
Give them a little bit of your background.
yeah, that's for sure.
So where you came up from.
I was born and raised in Mount Vernon. Some of the other artists that come from Mount Vernon are Heavy D, rest in peace. Pete Rock and CL Smooth. A lot of artists represent that area. The Westchester area, which is where Mount Vernon is in, Brand Nubian used to represent that when they would say New Rochelle or Now Rule, as we say, as inner city youth. So yeah, I grew up, I was born there, and I would say around 3, I was in the Bronx. Mount Vernon is right outside of the Bronx. You could sneeze and just end up in the Bronx. So I was in the Bronx early in my life, where my late father is from. My mother is actually from, my late mom is actually from Mount Vernon. Growing up in the Bronx, from the Bronx, I would move to Queens. So, you know, a slew of artists come from Queens. Run DMC, LL Cool J, you know, 50 Cent. I could go on. Nas, you know. I started high school in a school called Jamaica High. I was in Jamaica, Queens at the time. And you know, I was dabbling and dabbling with rap at that time. I had started rap at 10. What inspired me to rhyme is probably Ain't No Half Steppin' by Big Daddy Kane. I always loved hip hop, but after Ain't No Half Steppin', I put my foot down and was like, I'm gonna try to rhyme. I remember that clearly. It was 1988. I was 10 years old. And Ain't No Half Steppin' came out Christmas time in Hollis, Run DMC. You know, I loved it all. Walk This Way, I loved all of that. That's my young, you know, influential mind. 10 is gonna run into 12, 12 is gonna run into 14. So huge influence, hip hop. I loved everybody. The Juice Crew, NWA. I loved everybody. There were no barriers. You know, we listened to everything we could. You know, some hip hop was more serious than others, so it forced you to grow up. It forced you to get a dictionary. It forced you to ask your older brother or your uncle or somebody, yo, what did that mean? Because not all rap is just fat, scat, cat, mat. You know, some of it is, and some of that is great. You know, there's a lot of great music that's simple and straightforward. But groups like Public Enemy, X-Clan, Wu-Tang, Nas, Cypress Hill, NWA, Ice Cube, Ice-T, they started tackling the Ghetto Boys. They started tackling issues that, like, it's hard for a 14-year-old to understand all of it. You heard the curse. You heard the curse word, and you heard the you heard the energy and the seriousness, but you didn't understand all of the slang. Your older brother did, or your uncle did, or your so it forced us to grow up. Hip hop forced us to grow up. In certain ways, it was bad. In most ways, it was good. It was the CNN of our neighborhoods. There's no Instagram. Y'all are in a whole nother universe, man. Viral, you know what viral was when I was young? Viral was every key DJ in your city knows who you are.
Yeah.
The DJ had to know who you are. Now, a kid has 20,000 people, 40,000 people on his page, and he's egotistical, but he's wondering why he has all these people on his page and he can't pack a venue. So you're going to learn the difference between quantity and quality. You know what I mean? When you have real skill, like I just heard you banging in that room,
Yes, sir.
you're going to get a quality type of fan that's going to stick with you and grow with you. I would be on tour right now if it wasn't a pandemic. I might not be top 40. I might not be on your magazine, but I've been on magazines and I'm on plenty of lists. You know what I mean? Because I put in that work. So, like your parents. Your parents know mad bands you don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they didn't make noise and change history. So, there's a lot of music that you could tap into from what your parents were listening to, even your older siblings, because they got a couple of years on you. They were listening to something that didn't reach you. So it's important to look back, study music, study artists, study the growth of artists. Do you like Prince?
I haven't really gotten into Prince, but I can respect him as an artist. That's for sure.
But you respect him as an artist. Is there a song that you like of his? Offhand. See, it's an older artist.
Yeah, like
this is a genius. And look how you struggle.
Yeah.
This man has 30 albums. Yes.
Yeah.
But the people around you that like him, they only promote 3 of them. So I'm trying to give you a gem right now that you can come back and teach somebody about Prince.
Yeah.
Because they only been listening to 3 of his records. There's 27 other records. I'm giving you the gem because you the one making some heat back there. You know what I mean? So make sure you study the history because you'll be surprised. There's a lot of great music out there, man. It's a lot. There's a lot of,
Yeah, okay, question. Like, based off that, to kind of piggyback, do you feel like, because I feel like when we came up, we had the advantage, you talked about, like, older people push you on. I had, like, an older cousin who was a DJ who helped me fall in love with it myself. But I also had my parents and the radio that we didn't have a choice in listening to when it came to, like, adult contemporary stuff. I felt like it gave us an advantage in actually knowing our history. And I feel like based off of the way that it is now with things being viral and streaming, that they don't have the advantage of that, which is why I think, you not knowing who Prince is, that's part of the reason. Mm-hmm. So, like, do you feel like that's been a contributing factor when it comes to, I guess, younger kids, like, not knowing how to look for older stuff and respect older artists because of that?
The problem lies in when you rely on everything from a cloud. You're at the mercy of someone else.
Right.
Who uploaded the cloud? How limited is it? Alphabets go from A to Z. How many artists are up there? So whenever you take something from a cloud, it's a Netflix, basically. I love Netflix to death, but there's certain gems that they don't have up there. And the gems they got are gonna get rotated out. So you gotta, when you're dealing with a cloud service, you're at the mercy of whoever uploads. So you gotta get your own drive and get those 27 Prince records. Nah, but seriously, y'all have such quick access to stuff, but it's still limited, It's still limited, and that's why there's 9 of them. There's something that, there's something that Hulu has that Netflix doesn't. So now you gotta have both of them when you could actually just have those movies or that music yourself. There's something that Spotify has that iHeart doesn't, or Pandora, or whichever one. I'm on all of those, so make sure y'all stream me. Vast Aire, Cannibal Ox, make sure you stream me and the artists that are gonna come up in my radio that apparently sound like me, because that's how they work with y'all. They create algorithms, But our algorithm, like he said, was our uncle or our dad or our mom or just someone who was educated on the subject. So I was listening to jazz records at a certain age that, you would, a kid, a 17-year-old is not supposed to be listening to Evil Live. You know what I mean? It's just like, huh? But that was me because I was put on. Again, rest in peace to my pops. When I was a child, he had a record store. My father was a record store owner. So, when it closed and everything, my mom still had a lot of those records. So I would be in the basement just looking at records and figuring out who sampled what, and you know what I mean? So I was fortunate to be able to just play around those records and be fascinated by the artwork. I was taken back by some of the artwork that was being done in the 70s with records. You know what I mean? So, you definitely, you wanna just keep your ear to the ground. It's gonna make y'all better musicians. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask Wally, yo, boom, boom, boom. How does this really work? How does that really work? Because it'll give you a secret. It'll make you a better musician, Yeah, man. So that's pretty much my beginning background. My middle background is when I'm getting older. I'm entering college. I have a communications class that looks like your room right there. Yeah. So I was doing that in high school. In college. I just, a couple of years, I would say 2001, I came back to the city. I was upstate New York going to Dutchess Community College. I had a communications class. And I pretty much, I wasn't vibing with school at the time. So I just did that semester and I never went back to school. I ended up going back home, got a job, and I started working on music full time. And this is when I did my most famous project, which is known as The Cold Vein, underneath my group, Cannibal Ox. And that's like, I have a lot of records, but that's like my biggest record according to critical, acclaim. And yeah, I just went full blast. I just, I came home, we did the record, before I had came home, I pretty much, I said to myself, I'm just gonna go as hard as I can. And here I am 20 years later, and I went hard. I've been all over the world. If you name a country, I've been there because of hip hop. And there's a few more countries I'm trying to go to. But yeah, hard work does pay off. Success does not look like you think it does in your head. And don't ever fall to someone else's measure of success. I gotta tell y'all that. Because someone will be ready to tell you to quit because you're not on a major label. Someone will be ready to tell you to stop doing what you love because you're not on top 40 radio. It's not about that, man. It's not. It's really not. It's cool to get all of that, but it's about mastering your art. The art is gonna make you a better person. So master your art. You know what I mean? Be genuine in your movement. Be genuine, and it's gonna show in your art. People can see a fake a mile away. A mile away. So be you, be real at being you. Don't be afraid to take chances, It's gonna be scary. That's why it's a chance. But take it, you know what I mean? If you really feel something, just vibe with it and work on it. Don't worry about, everyone else in the room wasn't really, because then you get caught up in that. And that's not a real artist, just sitting around trying to please people. An artist is an expressing entity. Express yourself, help other people express themselves. Be a beacon of light. They can see you clearly expressing yourself, and then they'll be able to figure out, So, I got some success. I got some success, I would say around 2004, I started to really branch off into my solo career. So it's like Cannibal Ox is my group, but Vast Aire became a soloist. Because again, you don't want to be held back by other people's vision. You don't. You don't want to be held back by other people's vision. And I might like a beat and my man don't. So what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to throw the beat out because he don't like it. You know what I mean? So that's how that ended. That's how that started to, because I was always a part of groups. Always. I was always with cliques, groups, trios. You understand? I was always with, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I was always, when it came time to making that solo move, I had to get that confidence. And I just said, let me go, So that project is going to be known as Look Mom, No Hands. So check out that project. That's going to be the beginning of me just spiraling out into mad, all types of projects and situations and working with people and building with people and, combining my sound with other artists, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Now, was it scary going out on your own?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's all on you. It's all on you when you're the soloist. When you're in a group, you could kind of like put your heads together and, we want to go in this direction. We want to go in that direction. Pretty much, once I had the beat, it was all on me. So it was scary, but I got used to it real quick. I got used because I love music. And I just didn't want to be held back. If I saw the vision, I wanted to be able to complete it. So, from there, from 2004, there's just a slew of projects. So, I'll have plenty of stuff to show y'all on Spotify and YouTube. And, I've worked with all types of people. I've worked with Wu-Tang, Brand Nubian, MF Doom, Company Flow, you name it. I'd have a song with them or we was on a tour together, A lot of these newer indie groups were fans of mine that are huge now. West Side Gun, Griselda, who else? J. Cole, there's a couple of artists. There's Danny Brown. These are all younger, indie, big acts that will tell you we loved Canox, we loved that whole movement, boom, boom, boom. So I'm glad that I could say I inspired a whole, new realm, and that's how it keeps going. That's how it keeps going. You keep pushing it forward, Yeah, man.
That's crazy to think about. Like you inspired my inspirations, and then eventually I'll be inspiring other people.
That's how it keeps going.
Yeah.
And that positive talk, you saying that you already putting it out in the atmosphere. You keep that up.
I've worked with a lot of big producers. You know what I mean? A lot of big producers. I've worked, just to name a few. My brain is going blank. There's so many. I've worked with Madlib. Are you familiar?
Mm.
I've worked with Madlib. I've worked with LP from Run the Jewels, also Company Flow.
Yeah.
I've worked with my brain's going blank. So many. I've worked with Harry Fraud. He's a huge producer. He gives stuff to platinum and gold people, but he's a Cannibal Ox fan.
Okay.
That's crazy.
You see how that works? So he's put me on songs with them and made sure I was in rooms with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the reason I got on that big French Montana remix.
Okay.
Because French Montana's one of his main producers. Okay. From back when French was with Bad Boy. And even before that, when French was with Akon.
Oh, so you were, yeah.
So you gotta
really need to listen to a lot of Harry Fraud stuff.
Okay.
Or whatever. Because in terms of being able to occupy that lane,
Definitely.
Yeah, you and Harry Fraud, just all the stuff he's name dropping is super legit. I have my own stories in terms of how this man has personally inspired me, but I don't wanna fan out. Shout out to Mr. Dibbs if you listening or whatever. You G-checked me on my fanboy things many times.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna leave it alone.
Nah, but yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot. We built. You could add to me on Instagram, and I'll be like, yo, listen to these people
Okay.
because they'll inspire you to do better.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a question. So, what's the best way to start to build those connections?
To be honest, you gotta be seen and heard. Right now, it's hard because we're in a pandemic.
Yep.
But you gotta be seen, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You could be the dopest producer, but if you're in your living room eating cookies, no one is gonna know. You gotta come out, you gotta meet people, you gotta bump elbows. That's all it is. And after bumping 10 elbows, you bump into somebody and it just works. You just gotta meet people, you know what I mean? How did you meet me?
Doing the show.
See?
And like
He wouldn't have met me if he was at home.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, the ill thing too is like once you start bumping elbows, and I know your story's gotta be a lot better. But it's this rapper named J Live who talked about it on the song.
Ooh.
He said with like that song we said like it's ill because my role models are my peers now. That's what ends up happening. Or whatever, like you
What up, fool? What up?
I never,
Animal crackers.
I never ever would have
No,
thought that we would have been cool to where he liked the group and just like I said, like I told him, like his album Cold Vein, May 15th, 2001. I remember a couple weeks and he was like I got a fanboy, I'm sorry. But before Genius was a thing in terms of like reading lyrics, I remember I used to like read reviews a lot. Or whatever, like that was my thing. I would go online, read reviews, and like when his album came out, this is like around the time where the internet was starting to become really pivotal.
It was just,
and it was just before the little brother thing or whatever. But y'all were even pioneers with that.
oh yeah.
But
Shout out to them. Shout out to Ninth Wonder. Those are my brothers.
Right, yeah.
And no pun intended.
Yeah, I've met him before. That's all. But but like with Vast or whatever, like why he's really dope to me was when I was reading a review, they would type out like some of the like the best lyrics from song to song, and when I was reading their lyrics, it really gave me a sense of just how poetic like lyrics even read. It's not just about them spitting and it sounds good, but the reason why genius and stuff like that is so important is because people write off hip hop as this thing that's not intelligent at all. Like if you want to borrow from the Stakes is High skit or whatever, like that skit where it's up there like, well, rap to me is just a bunch of talking. And it's just like, no, because if you know how to listen to it and you understand where we get our inspiration from and how we've been educated, there's a level of intellectual and poetic density to the stuff that sometimes reading it like that really makes you appreciate it. And I just remember I would read the lyrics to the Cold Vein stuff in addition to being a fan.
Respect.
And it was just, I was just like, this stuff is really, really crazy or whatever. Like the F word, tracks like that, like all these things I'm up there reading. If you really like just the meaning and the double entendres and stuff.
First thing I heard of his was not even
Pan, make sure you pan the camera, get everybody.
What's up? Yeah, we got it. Ohio, Philly, you goddamn right.
Oh, drum pattern awareness. DPA.
Yep, I used to.
That's me.
Like Strength Magazine when they first came out, or Come Flow and the triple singles. You guys, Aesop and them, and you were on that song, and then you murdered the hook, man. It was like they weren't really hip to that because that was really grimy. Coming out, and you had a big man Magnanos right over there shouting out.
Respect.
And then I remember, yeah, man, and then it was like, to me, since we're Cincinnati, but then as as much as it came full circle, man, just Columbus, all the homies that, you know, from up there that kind of was like a direct line up to, you know, you guys all the way up there. And then I just, yeah, man, I remember hearing Cool Bane and it was like, bam, yeah.
It was such a groundbreaking
Well,
thing.
and then like you were saying, it's, his writing is very much, intelligent where you have to, after you hear the initial lyric, you have to second think about it, where most guys were literal, you know, literally say stuff where, what's the, but you say, like things like shoe fits after the acapella, like, you know, stuff where it's intelligent. And actually, I thought when I first heard your voice, it's just like your name, man, it's vast.
Oh, respect,
and it's
respect.
clever, man, it's like, yeah.
I mean, I was blessed to have a good voice, you know, and I worked hard to learn how to work with it.
Yeah.
But you know, you're either born with a great voice or you're not.
Mostly the voice, right?
Or Guru.
Rest in peace to Guru, Biggie, Q-Tip. You know, these are some of the greatest voices. What's another great voice?
All the beasties together.
Oh, they had a great tone.
Yeah.
The Beastie Boys have a great tone. Run DMC.
Yeah.
Look how strong they are. You put Roxbox on right now. Like those voices carry. So it's not a mystery why they blew up. You know what I mean? Like a strong voice is, you know, everything. You know, there's dudes that have great voices and they're not even saying that much.
But it don't matter.
But it don't matter.
The voice is so though.
You know, the same with a flow.
Yeah.
A flow could be so great and he's like potato chips. You know what I mean? He's not really saying, he's like potato chips, candy. He's not really saying anything. But his flow is so immaculate, you just have to sit there and be in love with it.
Right.
You know? And then when you could get someone that actually has some subject matter, they got a little bit of style about them, then it starts getting crazy. And that's how we fell in love with hip hop. You know what I mean? Like me thinking back of all those artists we were growing up with.
Like I say, before that era is like the after kind of the
Pan the camera.
True era.
Pan the camera so you could catch them when they
So
talk.
like, man, you got guys that flow like Hoochie Rap. I mean, they're unbelievable. You know, Big Daddy Kane, first dude that's got some kind of style, and he kind of steps out of just being more than like an MC. He's like,
You just miss me. You just miss me say.
Also, too, he shouted out Spitball.
Oh,
Thomas
man.
Columbus and Brew Lee, which is shout out to Brew Lee.
Phil.
I shouted out animal crackers.
You're right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, you know, man. I was gonna ask. You did a lot of your record, Mom, No Hands.
Look, Mom, No
And
Hands.
I remember I was like listening to it because we did. That was kind of the end of Top Cats era. We did a show.
Yes.
And I remember when I got the record, I'm listening to it, and then bam, if it is like you did at Prince House, or at least a couple songs or something. I was like,
Yes.
man, why did you sneak over here and do this, man? So, you know.
Yeah, shout out to Iska Bibbles,
Yeah, Iska
Waitlist. Shout out to Blueprint.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've done a lot of music with them, a lot of music with Illogic.
Yeah, man.
His family, you know, Adam's fam back home. Shout out to the team. Yeah, man, that's my grounded family back home. Yeah, before you came in, I mentioned how Big Daddy Kane was the ultimate.
And then when I was there, the next step would be like, so that the West Coast, like just with the kind of the fellowship, I remember them getting signed, and then like them being on like, it was like Rap City before they had a host, and they would just send a camera crew out, and I remember hearing those dudes.
That's right. That's right.
It's,
Wow, you going hard. You going hard.
Kind of like, well, you know, after G-Funk, where, you know, it's awesome, gangster rap is dope, a lot of samples are from around here. You know, it has to expand because, you know, it can't just be one monolithic thing.
That's right.
Everybody's not that hard. You know?
That's right.
You know, you can be corny, which is, that's kind of the 89 era, then kind of, it had to spread, man, like, and that's where kind of, I remember, man, I heard Freestyle Fellowship, I was like, whoa.
I loved Freestyle Fellowship. Shout out to AC Alone,
Yeah.
Micah 9. I've met them. They're geniuses.
Then,
Shout out to Jupiter. All of them. Peace, all of them. They're amazing. Those are some amazing artists. And I was all the way in New York, respected them.
yeah, man. Like,
We was looking, when they dropped, we was like this, behind the bushes. We was like, a word, they trying to take leaders of the new school? You know what I mean? We was looking at them like they're a threat
I mean,
to whatever y'all are doing in native
I just
tongues.
thought it was, these guys are basically like, what's the one, the Bullies on the Block, it's the first song on that record.
Oh my God.
It's not the one that they've got time for, blew up for, but, I mean, they're rapping tough, man, they're rapping scary, and they're like, they're not throwing gangsters, but it's just rough, man, and their cadences.
I saw them.
Beat, come back, it's just like.
I saw them live
Yeah.
somewhere. I forgot what school in New York. And I didn't, at the time, I didn't know any of them. So I paid and all that and was chilling in the crowd with a couple of people. Like I was watching them when I was young. I gotta see them. And they destroyed it. And then I ended up meeting them. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
It's another group or movement that had major influence on a lot of artists.
Huge. I mean,
Arguably Bone.
That's
'Cause I was
no,
gonna
man.
ask you.
Nah,
Oh my
like,
God.
I know it's an Ohio thing, and then shout out to Bone because they absolute geniuses.
I'm
not
more
saying
down with
anything with it. But that was, I mean,
yeah.
that's been like a point of contention
Yeah.
for like a while in terms of who influenced
Well,
who.
even
And
like-
a lot of the freestyle stuff was precursory.
That documentary, The Good Life, because all they kind of, their genesis was a kind of place like here, where, it was, it's called The Good Life.
Life
and-
Cafe.
Yeah, and, all kinds of, like, Tumex, the guys from Jurassic 5 kind of
Yeah.
linked up there,
Facts.
Volume 10, and I remember them kind of making, in the documentary, I remember this, I never really thought about it, but, Volume 10 had a song that kind of, got in the charts and was a banger, that album's great, but then, like, here come the, Gorillas in the Mist, man, where, like, Ice Cube, who is probably at the top of his game.
Oh my God.
I was thinking about that today.
I
but
brought
all
him
of a
up
sudden
earlier.
He's rapping with, kind of wilder cadences, like, hit him with the boom, ping, ping.
Ping!
And he's stepping out like, it's awesome.
Hit him with
But it
the
was
boom.
kinda like, that wasn't usually what you would hear from, that kind of faction of rap. They're expanding, but it kind of sounded like, Volume 10 of those dudes, and they're all from the same area, but,
Let me ask you a technical question, going back to voice,
Okay.
that I think would be beneficial for the kids and coming up. How do you take care of your voice?
Oh my
You always
God.
hear of like your first time that you get to go out on tour, everybody loses their voice. And
Let me tell you, I lost my voice. I was on tour with the Roots. And I had a ridiculous show with them one night, and then I lost my voice the next night. And I'm getting a flashback because Black Thought gave me his throat spray. And that was one of the first things that taught me, like, yo, I'm a professional. Everyone else is at the party. I'm at my job. You have to have that mind state. You're working. You are not partying. Everyone that's watching you is partying.
Shout out to KRS.
You have to have that mind state, or you'll be done. You'll be done. This is your best friend. This is your best friend about 2 hours before the show. I'm talking the vocalist. I'm also talking to anybody. I'm talking to the DJ too. You're gonna have hot lights on you. You need water in you too. But the vocalist, 2-3 hours before your show, start downing bottles of water. Get like 2 of them in you. Then you'll have it in your system, and then you'll have it when you're on stage. Try to have them room temperature, not too cold. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't, it's just lubricating, it's refreshing, and you need the water in your system because the water is gonna replenish your throat. I'm a vocalist, and when I've got 30 dates to do, it's hard. I need a lot of honey. You know what I mean? I need a lot of honey. I need a lot of tea. So water, honey, tea, rest. You have to go to sleep. I'm telling you. You gotta, a lot of these dudes, they get caught up in the party. And then the next thing you know, their show is everywhere. I'm still here to this day because I have an amazing show. You're not able to see me on MTV all day. You could go to YouTube, watch a couple of my videos that are in the 100,000s, but I'm here because I have a live presence right there. That's the only thing that's gonna keep you around. You know, I'm talking to the performers, you know, who literally gotta get in front of the crowd and make the song realistic. You could make anything you want in a room alone, but then to perform it in front of a crowd, it's the most beautiful feeling ever because it's your baby, it's your child. You made it in that laboratory and then you gave it to the public. You know what I mean? So, echinacea sprays. Echinacea is great for you. Honey, tea, water, rest. We could get deeper. There's things you could do with lemon. There's things you could do with cranberry. That's a secret I got from opera singers. The cranberry will keep your vocal cords lubricated. And look at the ranges that they're doing. So if they tell you something about your vocal cords, pay attention. You know what I mean? Cranberry, lemon, honey, water, sleep, rest. And there's plenty of throat sprays. You know what I mean? So,
Are you a fan of also not talking?
Yes,
As well? That's one of those things.
I'm a huge fan of that. That's why you might see me get a little quiet before the show. That last 2 hours before the show, I'm kind of quiet and relaxed and dealing with my emotions and with my anxiety and with my angst, because if you care about anything, there's gonna be some nervousness. And I always care about putting on a good show. Definitely. A show can change someone's life. Their whole life will be changed. You know what I mean? So if you haven't been to a life-changing concert yet, God bless you, you will. It just hasn't happened yet. Hopefully you come out of the pandemic and you'll be able to see me and I could do that for you. But no, all jokes aside, a person who loves music needs a couple of concerts like that in their life. I've seen some people and they changed me. I left the show changed. Yeah. And you need that experience. You need that experience. We've had that experience. But y'all need that, definitely. You know what I mean?
I feel like just the idea of performance with the technological advances and all that other stuff, like, it's a dying thing. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's just like the things that made us fall in love with it. Like, it doesn't have to, it's not a necessary part of the experience like it was
Wow.
anymore.
That's a good point.
And I think based upon that, like, I don't want to say that like you take it for granted or whatever, because I don't think that music is taken for granted. I just think that the ability to use it as an instrument, ironically, is totally underutilized, because there's so many things that you can draw from. There's so many different ways you can possess an ingenuity about it, infuse your unique personality, all these things that's just being like lost. I mean, the dope thing about it, and then also too, speaking back on the DJs or whatever, like, I mean, they were historians as well. You know what I mean? It's up there like the wellspring of knowledge that somebody like a Noah has. You know, like all the crackers and things of that nature, like the DJ was responsible for that. So it's like, I always look at it from the standpoint of like, now, who's the equivalent of a DJ Kool Herc or like a Marley Marl or anybody like that when it comes to really understanding like the history of what culture felt like during a particular era of time. And because they have that knowledge, knowing how to preserve it to where, you know, like they automatically got the right playlist that they can curate. They know they know who to put you on to, you know, so on and so forth. And like that level of diversity, it had enough room to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everything, it had flavor because it was cool for things to not sound the same, because to the CNN point, that's the reason why things had to sound different or whatever. It's up there like a Cincinnati record, it had a feel to it. Like a record that came out of Cali, an Oakland record felt different than a Compton record. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like a album out of Memphis had a different feel than something out of Houston.
That's right.
Because they took the texture of where they came from,
That's
the
right.
environment, and they were able to put it in a musical form and put it out. And I feel like that's being lost because like the way y'all want like the wave to flow, it's like different.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's kind of like I think of like the history of music in terms of like being a giant tree that's kind of connected, even though they're not immediately connected. Maybe
Right.
like the tree in like Avatar or something. But you got to look at it in terms of music is just probably one of the best things that that you can change people literally by them
Yes.
experiencing it.
Yes.
You take that on. Now the people have to have the willingness to do that, or they might really need it, but I know that it is definitely a very, very powerful, positive thing where when other means to do things are different, but that's why music's special. And music's also special because, you know what, you don't need anybody to be there, but you can always communicate with somebody. The day I die, I could be in a room with a stranger, and if they try and are willing and like to do music,
That's right.
it's on. I mean, it's pounding on that table there.
That's right.
And getting joy out of it. And it's hard. You really gotta love it because it's hard to even. I've done every job possible in music, from being a performer to telling a performer what to do, to promoting a show. And if I didn't love it so much, then I wouldn't do it. But I need it like air. Like and it's just as fulfilling when you would show somebody how to do something, and then see it right before your eyes, something like they will learn from you, or like something that you have to have your ears open. There's some, it's a long journey because I'm still using my ears more than my mouth, which is important. But I know that, when I'm old and gray, here comes hip hop pops, man, or whatever kind of music, because it's just, that's what it is. And I think what you're saying is it's weird because with the onset of the internet and everybody being so connected, they're not connected initially because on that level of it being a kind of, I'll say like a campfire or just close quarters kind of thing, where you would get like information about what was going on or how somebody felt, or, and also like the cultural imprint of where they're from. Right. And how they react. Like, you were saying it, like Cincinnati is a great example because of where it is. It's like it's at the top of the South and the bottom of the North.
That's right.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff that comes here. Everybody stops by for a minute, but they move on, but that's okay. They kind of come through here and being from a place like this where you do have a high bar and people, expect a lot because of the history. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's like gunning for you, but that kind of makes you, work harder.
We have like a legacy to live up to.
Well, not even legacy, just when you get up on stage,
Tradition.
like and I don't, I'm always somebody that's, been down the road where I just know it's better to be positive than to go and spew a bunch of negative stuff. Now, if somebody does something that's not so good and they're not willing to accept the criticism for it, that's one thing. But, everybody else just being negative and kind of just pulls each other down really speaks to their non-strengths about how they're trying to elevate. But I wonder about that with stuff like COVID where, we'll eventually get back together, but it is something where it's like, and you can just feel it in general. It's also a good time to be creative though, because a lot of the hustle and bustle of before this all happened, like,
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
I think,
I agree.
you could literally go out to an area where there's like a city, and you know what? It's done by like 11 o'clock. And that's kind of like I like that an idea of like kind of exploring big places that and it's just that's what's unique. So you can go and really get in that kind of thought and make that inspire you. But as far as gathering in a big area to change somebody's mind or stop something, like music is essential. And I don't know how. I think it's a generational thing too. I think it's always important to be positive. People can connect and Zoom each other, but I think really to get in the best spirit of, it's kind of like, I don't know how you have a computer for Serato, but if you don't have the records or no power or whatever, you're not going to connect. So it's important to,
Yeah.
you can be 6 feet away and hear me, man. What's up?
We got a couple more minutes before we gotta close down. Do you have any other tidbits of advice that you could drop of?
You just gotta believe in yourself, work hard. There's gonna be challenges. Like you're gonna make a beat one day in 20 minutes. But there's gonna be a beat that's gonna challenge you.
That's for sure.
It's not gonna be a 20-minute day.
Yeah.
Don't doubt yourself. That's you going to another tier. You gotta work hard. That's gonna make you a better producer.
Yeah.
And it's about quality. Sometimes you're gonna make something great in 30 minutes, and you're gonna be eating a sandwich, and you're gonna be multitasking. And then some days you're gonna close the shade and close the door and be so tunnel vision to get the song done. So just pay attention to those days.
Yeah. I got a quick question. So when being creative or making music is your main source of income, how do you stay original? How do you stay creative? How do you make it just, what I'm saying? Like, how do you stay true to yourself when like...
I know. Basically, you're bringing up the economic side,
Yeah.
the business side.
Yeah.
It's hard. I had a side job and I did hip hop for a long time. Because I was doing it as I was in high school. I was in high school. I was in college with it. Then I left and I was doing security and stuff like that. And I was still doing music.
Yeah.
So I didn't really leave the workforce until I had to do serious touring.
Yeah.
I would tour around doing my job and whatever. But when it really started to take off, I put out a couple of singles like Iron Galaxy or DPA, as Noah brought up when he came out, and they took off. So at that point, I'm in a position where, I'm not a millionaire, but I could live off of my art and I could travel. And, I just did my best at that time. I was wasting a lot of my money living in New York City. But you just have to learn how to money manage, you know, and be smart about it, you know. Invest, get your equipment, you know, work hard, and it all comes back to you, you know. It all comes back to you. You definitely need some type of understanding of money management though, because you can quickly get all of this money from touring or maybe a record deal, and this is how people get caught up, you know, agents, all of that. Bad management, people stealing from them, all types of, the labels stealing from them, your own partner stealing from you. So you just have to be a business savvy person, and there's plenty of music books out there that can help give you that, you know. And there's plenty of musicians that have done documentaries that will elaborate on it, share their stories, and you could go, oh, I don't want to go through that. So, you know, there's ways to navigate, you know, the positives and the negatives of the money, you know. You know, so that's a whole nother conversation on its own, just having your business in order, because it will become a point in time where it's not just a hobby, it's a business, you know. So you want to be savvy, you want to know what, you know, what's, you know, what you're worth as an artist. And just once you have a fan base, you start to leverage power. So you could be talented without a fan base, but I always try to explain to artists, don't get ahead of yourself. You know, I'm humble and I have a fan base, and it's a hard world out there. Not every promoter knows you. Not every club knows you and cares to want to know you. It's a business. So unless you have a fan base that you can leverage, meaning, oh, if he comes here, we can get 300 to 500 kids in this room and blah, 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 blah. That's how you start gaining leverage, you know, by building your brand. So you're obvious to me right now, but the plan is to get other people to know who Obvious is. And then Obvious can leverage the club. So now when Obvious is like, I'm trying to come to this club, there's a certain amount of people that want to come hear you. You know what I mean? You got that banger with Vast Aire, they want to hear you, you know what I mean? So they're going to come to the club. They want to hear you, and that's how people negotiate. You know what I mean?
So if you can start with that mindset now, then you're ahead of the game when success does come.
You're ahead of the game because I gave you a gem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Start getting prepared now. Y'all are going to be successful. Y'all are going to be successful. Think that way and start getting prepared now. You know what I mean? And you're lucky to have people, you know, like me or Wally or the Wolves or the Crackers, you know, Animal Crackers, that can, you know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what,
Animal Crackers.
you gotta invest in people, in yourself.
Man, you in the right building. Look at the building you in.
Yeah, you know?
Look who Wally put in front of you. You know what I mean? I'm not Drake, but Drake was listening to me.
Yeah.
Trust.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you gotta get the gem. And I'm, you know, he's, you know, again, I don't want you to think he's the only way you could be successful.
Yeah.
It's a big world out there. You know what I mean? And you're gonna be something special to someone. Your beats, your musical talent and skill is gonna get across to somebody. You know, it's a planet with 7 billion people. Everyone don't speak the same language. You know what I mean? Everyone don't eat the same. But trust me, I have plenty of people that don't speak English that love my music. So something is getting across to them. Not every slang that I say, obviously. They don't know English, let alone urbanized hip hop broken down English.
Yeah.
They really don't know that. And they're still pumping me because I got a certain energy across to them. And one of their friends does know English, and he's actually translating it to them. Oh, he really said this. Now they're really going crazy because they're getting a part of it that they couldn't reach. I love music, and I listen to foreign music all the time, and I'd be like, wow, what is she saying? Because I'm feeling this right now. But she could be saying, I love peanut butter, and I don't know.
Right. But you know what's really interesting about that as well is like, even like once the language is translated or whatever, based off of the nuance of language, it actually adds another layer.
It adds another on
what
top.
you're saying, because it's certain, like the way that language translates from one language to another. Like, you know, like, for example, it's just like in Alaska, for example, they got like 32 different ways to describe snow or something like that. But it's just like with other languages.
32?
It's something like that. I don't know like the exact. But
When
it's
I'm king, I'm gonna make
Right.
one wave.
It's something to that effect, but it's just imagine how, you know, like the closest thing to his lyrics in like Japanese or something like that, when that's translated
Oh my God.
over, right, you know what I'm saying? It adds another layer of complexity
I
that you
practice.
must think about. So it's just, you know, I'm studying Arabic right now.
Yeah.
And with that being said, like
I,
that's how you,
I study Japanese and Arabic.
right. So it's like
And the
it's-
way things,
exactly.
I'm a martial artist and a self-defense coach. So I've practiced martial arts my whole life. Particularly, I'm closer to the Japanese schools. But I'll study anything if someone knows what they're talking about and they could give me a gem.
Right.
Let me get everybody up and we can keep talking afterwards, but the students we gotta close down.
Yeah,
Let
it's
me get
cool.
a picture with everybody up here with that. See how we